Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the episode of Way of the Underhive, your ultimate guide to Games Workshop's gritty and immersive skirmish game Necromunda. So whether you're brand new to the dark depths of Hive Primus or a veteran looking to sharpen your skills, this series is your go-to resource for mastering all aspects of the game. From gang warfare to campaign strategies, we got you covered. And of course, if you guys have any questions or topics that you would like us to cover, please drop them in the comments box below and join the conversation about this excellent game. So today's video is a little bit more of a special one. This one is actually a recommendation that was given to us by one of our viewers named Dunami5. I hope I'm pronouncing your screen name correctly. Dunami5 actually dropped a couple of comments on a previous video that I did that actually mentioned using a dramatis persona character called Ortruum 8-8 as to be the leader of an Outcast gang and to build the entire Outcast gang around this character. So today's video is dedicated to you, Dunami5, so thank you for giving us this really excellent recommendation for a Outcast gang, and we're going to talk about exactly what this gang entails and how you go about playing this gang. So for those of you who are not familiar with this character is called Ortruum 88, and this is a picture of him. This is the most cursed Necromunda miniature in all of existence. It's just absolutely hideous to look at. And if you guys aren't sure what Ortruum 8-8 is, it's actually a psychic that House Homework kind of created by using inbreeding and genetic manipulation with different psychers to kind of create this psychic, basically bounty hunter, to go down the depths of Underhive to look for their enemies and to use their psychic abilities in order to hunt down their enemies and to find them. This character just kind of floats around. It's got mechanical arms. It's absolutely grotesque and absolutely horrible. And in fact, the only reason why it actually does what it's supposed to is because it has a really fancy head rig that basically kind of puts it under the control of House Humwar, so that way they go after their enemies. And this is the character that that Dunami5 wanted us to actually create. But since most people might not be familiar with this character, let's go out and talk about exactly what Ortruum 8-8 can actually do. So let's talk about Ortruum 8-8, which is a bounty hunter character. This character costs 250 credits, and this will be actually the leader of your gang. This character's got a 4-inch wound allowance, a 5+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, 3 strength and toughness, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, 1 attack. It's got 6 leadership, 7 cool, 5 willpower, as well as 5 intelligence. Now it does come with the fearsome as well as section psyker special rules, which are quite great. So because of that, if anybody wants to charge against Ortruum 8-8, they have to pass a willpower test before they can do so, otherwise their activation ends, for obvious reasons, because it's just hideous to look at. And he's also got the section psychic ability, which means it can reroll 1 willpower test per game in order to get off its psychic abilities. Now because we're using this character as a dramatis persona leader, we don't really need to worry about the dead not alive special rule, so we don't really need to worry about that. But it does have the flight special rule, which allows it to travel directly across all terrain. And at the same time, it also has this really cool rule called Soul Hound, and that's probably one of the main reasons why people would actually take this character based on this special rule. Now let's go and talk about this real quick. The unique ability possessed by Ortruum 8-8 and one that makes its self-services particularly valuable to bounty hunters and forces of guilders is the ability to hunt down individuals based on their psychic spore. Before a game begins, nominate 1 fighter, leader, champion, juvie, specialist, or equivalent from your opponent's gang. This fighter is the one that Ortruum 8-8 has been sent to track down. This fighter must be deployed on the table at the start of the game and must therefore be included in your opponent's crew, however that is selected. For the duration of this game, the nominated fighter is haloed by ghostly illumination, marking them out to their enemies as Ortruum 8-8 constantly focuses them upon their location. All shooting attacks made against this nominated fighter gain a +1 modifier to hit rolls. Additionally, the nominated fighter may not use the infiltrate or lie low skills for the duration of the game. So if you really want to take out somebody from a rival gang, this is the best way to do so, and that's the reason why Soul Hound is actually a really good ability to use this. At the same time, there's also a special rule called Teamwork, which doesn't really apply to this situation, but just to let you guys know, you can actually hire this character as a bounty hunter as well as a second bounty hunter for your gang if you wanted to do so. Now it does actually have some pretty interesting special abilities with its weird powers. We have continuous effects, what's called Mind Lock. Mind Lock is a basic action. You nominate an enemy fighter within 18 inches of this psyker that has not already been activated this round. For the remainder of this round, that fighter cannot activate and may not take part in group activations, so very powerful ability there. As well as Premonition, which is a simple action with a continuous effect And it reads that this ability to read the thoughts of others possessed by the Psyker enables it to dodge and evade all but the most unexpected attacks. The weird power grants the Psyker a 4+ save roll, which cannot be modified by weapon's armor-piercing characteristics. So it does have a 4 ward save at all times, and it does actually have one psychic ability, which is Force Blast, which is the typical Force Blast ability from the Telekinesis skill tree for Ortruum 8-8. So the reason why a lot of people take this fighter isn't necessarily for their psychic abilities, but really for the Premonition, Mind Lock, as well as the Soul Hound special ability, which is also that name, Soul Hound, is the reason why we actually have the name for this gang, which I like to call it the Hounds. So let's talk about the Hounds. The Hounds are a House Helmore Hunters guild called the Hounds. These guys are basically a retinue of rogue psychers led by Ortruum 8-8 to hunt down the noble house's enemies. So whenever House Helmore has an enemy they want to go after, they want to assassinate or take out of action, they send the Hounds to go after them, with the Ortruum 8-8 acting as the leader of this warband in order to find the target and of course the rest of the fighters in order to take them out. There's a lot of unsanctioned psychers in this group, so think of this is kind of like a Black Ops team that House Helmore doesn't officially recognize because it can't, because technically speaking they're breaking the law. And so because of that, their fighters are completely disposable and expendable, and of course if they ever get captured by anybody, they will be disavowed by House Helmore. And that's the reason why there's a lot of outcasts in this gang. The only real person in this group that House Helmore cares about is Ortruum 8-8. They'll go where they gotta do to get that character back, but for the rest of the team though, they really don't care. So let's talk about the playstyle for this gang. Well, first of all, things are going to get weird with this list because we have a lot of psychers in this ability. We're going to be spamming the Unbreakable Will skill with a Hive Mind build to trigger weird powers with this gang. And the reason why is because traditionally speaking, Outcast champions have really poor willpower scores, so them triggering their psychic abilities is not going to be all that great. However, because we are using Ortruum 8-8 and we are going to make them a weird archetype, we get another psychic ability. We're going to use Unbreakable Will, which will be able to transfer its cool characteristic as well as willpower characteristics to other fighters, in which this case will be the Outcast champions, who are also psychers, and therefore they'll be able to use Ortruum 8-8's willpower score to get their psychic abilities off as well. So we're going to be spamming that ability in order to make this happen. Now, I do provide a couple of rosters on this video. I got a 1,400 credit roster that you can use for your Underhive, Underhells, as well as Ashwaste campaigns. And I also got a 2,400 credit roster for those who want to participate in the Aranthian Secession. And when you actually look at the names and stuff that I've given the characters as well as the gang, I kind of base it off of like royal hunting parties from back in the Middle Ages, so like fox hunts, that sort of thing. So if the names look kind of weird or kind of strange, that's the reason why I got the inspiration from to create this group. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about your rosters for the Hounds. So first, let's go ahead and talk about your 1,000 credit roster list. This is going to be used for Underhive, Underhells, as well as Ashwaste campaigns. The gang is called the Hounds. They're an Imperial House Noble Outcast gang. So that is the actual Outcast designation for these guys. Now, at this 1,000 credit roster, we're not going to be able to use the House Helmore bodyguards in order to force a bodyguards delegation, just because you don't have enough credits to do so. But let's go ahead and talk about your fighters. First of all, you got Ortruum 8-8. It's going to cost you 250 credits. This person is a Dramatis Persona Outcast gang leader with a weird archetype. They automatically come with the Fearsome as well as Sanctioned Psyker skills, as well as the Soul Hound special rule, Flight special rule. They also have the powers Premonition and Mind Lock and Force Blast. And because we're making this guy and promoting him to a weird archetype, we're giving them a psychic ability, Unbreakable Will, from the Telepathy skill tree. And because he's also leader as well, they also get a skill. We're giving this guy the Commanding Presence skill, so that way he can activate larger group activations. He's going to cost 250 credits, just bare bones, just the way they are, just because giving this person weapons doesn't really do you much good. Now, your next character is going to be the Huntsman, which is going to be an Outcast champion, 115 credits. Once again, this is going to be a weird archetype. This character's got layered flak armor. Now, the reason why we can give him layered flak armor is because you are an Imperial House Noble Outcast gang, and layered flak armor comes with the delegations. And as per Outcast gang rules, you can get the same weapons equipment from your delegation to use for your gang. So got a 5-up armor save by itself, as well as a 4-up armor save against template attacks. He's packing a shock stave, so that way he's got a good versatile attack with shock. He's also got an auto pistol for shooting. And we're giving this character the Chronomancy discipline with flicker, which means that once per game they can do a third action. And we're giving them the psychic ability walk through walls, so that way they can go through the walls and attack their enemies. Like I said before, we're kind of using this group as like a group of hunters that go after enemy fighters. Then we have the Master of the Hounds, which is your second Outcast champion, 130 credits. Once again, a weird archetype with layered flak armor. They got a Ceramite shield as well for that really good armor save. Now, unfortunately, it's also going to limit their actions, but that's okay though. And the reason why is because this guy's got a stub gun with dum-dum rounds for protection, and we're giving this person the divination skill, psychic discipline, with future sight, which allows you to re-roll any rolled once during the battle, which could be really important for you. And we're giving this character vision, so that way they can actually target and give an additional +1 hit against your enemies by taking away cover as well as partial cover. So think of this group as, like I said before, this whole group's whole entire design is to basically go after enemies and hunt them down and to engage them. After that, we have 3 Outcast Hive Scum. We have the Chasseur, which costs 65 credits. This Outcast Hive Scum with layered flak armor as well as an autogun, as well as the Cazador, which is the Outcast Hive Scum, worth 65 credits with layered flak armor and last gun. So these are guys are your medium to long range shooters in your gang. We have the Hussar, which is another Outcast Hive Scum at 80 credits, whose armor with layered flak armor as well as a shotgun with solid and scatter ammo. The Hussar's job is to actually act as a bodyguard for Ortruum 8-8 in this list, while the Cazador and the Chasseur, their job is to actually engage enemies at distance. And then, of course, we have another handful of Outcast Hive Scum. We have the Foxhound, which costs 85 credits. This person's got layered flak armor, throwing knives, as well as a fighting knife and smoke grenades. Now, the Foxhound's whole job is to infiltrate directly against your enemies using stealth. You use the tox attacks and throwing knives to take out sentries, that sort of thing. Fighting knife to do exactly backstabbing. And smoke screen as well in order to cover your advance if you decide to do so. We also got the Wolfhound, which is another Outcast Hive Scum at 80 credits. This guy's got layered flak armor, a chainsaw, and a stub gun. Just a straight up close combat fighter. That +1 to the hit with the chainsaw would be nice. Stub gun, you can upgrade it with a dum-dum rounds later on. And then we have the Terrier Man, which is another Outcast Hive Scum at 80 credits. This guy's also got layered flak armor, also has a flow for that +1 strength in close combat, as well as a last pistol, which I recommend you upgrade with a hotshot last pistol as soon as possible. And the very last member of your gang is going to be Doctore, which is going to be a rogue doc at 50 credits. This person's got a last pistol, Medicaid kit, as well as the Medicaid skill, and the patch of special rule. Just because rogue docs are worth their weight in gold in case you take a critical hit, and so we're using this to kind of add some little bit of support for your gang. And this is going to be the 1,000 credit roster that I recommend for your gang, for your Underhells, Underhive, as well as your Ash Waste campaigns. So up next is your 2,400 credit roster for those of you guys who want to participate in the Amanthian Succession campaign. Once again, it's still the Hounds, which is still an Imperial House Noble Outcast gang, but now we have 2,000 credits to generate your gang, so we're going to upgrade a couple of your fighters and add additional fighters to your gang as well. And there is some slight variations between this list and the previous list that we looked at before. So first of all, Ortruum 8-8 is still back, still costs 250 credits, still equipped exactly the same way as the previous list. However, we also got the Huntsman as well. It's still equipped exactly the same way at 115 credits. It fulfills exact same roles. Same thing with the Master of the Hounds, still 130 credits, but we changed this character's divination ability. So he has Future Sight, which is his ability that he's going to spec in, but we're giving this character Warp Whispers, which allows you to get +1 bonus to rolls in order to choose scenarios. It also gives you bonuses for sentry duties that require stealth, but the main reason why we're taking this power is so that way you get +1 additional fighter per your crew in every scenario that you go into. Now, granted, it's not as useful as, say, using Visions, because Visions is a much more useful ability, but the reason why we're doing this is because that way you can take more fighters on the tabletop, because we are expanding this gang with additional fighters, specifically 2 more fighters, because we're taking the house delegation for this gang. So you want to make sure you get as many fighters on the tabletop. My suggestion to you is to get Visions for this fighter as soon as possible, so that way you can use that ability to hunt down your enemies. And the reason why this gang is going to be slightly larger is because we are taking the House Paladin Companions. Now, this is the delegation that comes with an Imperial House gang, and if you're using the Outcast rules, these are the fighters you would have. You have 2 of them. They're called the Primus and the Secundus. They're both Paladin Companions, and we're putting these guys at 250 credits. Now, there is no actual official rule for the credit value for this delegation. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why Games Workshop hasn't made one yet, because people want to play this from the Outcast gang. I did a video earlier last month where it actually talks about a little bit about this, and I decided to put a 250 credit limit on these characters, so that way you can kind of justify why you can include them. The difference, of course, is that these guys have disintegration guns. They have layered flak armor. They also have armored undersuits. They also pack stub guns for backup weapons. They got manacles for close combat weapons as well. They also got Overwatch, fearsome skills. They also got Helm Wars protectors as well as peerless bodyguards, so that way they can protect Ortruum 8-8 from being harmed as well. And these are going to be your 2 Paladin companions. They're going to cost 500 credits to put both of them in your list. Up next is the Jasur. They're back, but this time they're upgraded 125 credits, and the reason why is because we're upgrading this fighter with layered flak armor, with auto gun with a telescopic sight, as well as photo goggles. So that way you can get that short range modifier for your long range shooting scores. At the same time, we could also include photo goggles so you can see in all visibility conditions. And the Khazar has also been upgraded as well. This fighter is also costing 125 credits. Still has layered flak armor, but we're upgrading the last gun with telescopic sight to get that short range bonus, as well as photo goggles to deal with all visibility condition. The Hussar has also been upgraded as well to 105 credits. Once again, still has a layered flak armor, but this time we've upgraded them with an armored undersuit to increase their armor save, just because they're going to be closer towards enemies. They also got a shotgun with solid as well as scatter ammo. The Foxhound has also been slightly upgraded as well with 95 credits, this time taking armored undersuit in addition with their layered flak armor, throwing knives, fighting knife, as well as smoke grenades. Then the Wolfhound has also been graded at 140 credits. We got layered flak armor for this character with armored undersuit. They're still packing a chainsaw and a stub gun, but we've upgraded them with a blasting charges. And same thing with the Ferryman. The Ferryman also costs 140 credits. Still has layered flak armor as well as armored undersuit, but we're giving this guy also flail and last pistol, and also upgrading them with blasting charges as well. And lastly, just to give you guys a little bit more combat power for this list, and since we have the credits to do so, we're actually going to drop the Rogue Doc. The reason why is because I want to be able to have, I have this idea of actually having this huge like brute in the gang that you could use for more like acting as a bullet magnet. This character is called the Lurcher. It is a Jotun H grade Servitor Ogren at 275 credits. This character's got furnace plates as well as an arc welder, so that way you get blaze attacks in close combat, a spudjacker, so that way it doesn't cost as much credits. It's also got the loyal as well as the slow witted special rules, as well as the headbutt skill, so that way it gets a good free action to attack using the headbutt skill. So this one's a lot more aggressive, also much larger, and we also have 3 more additional powerful fighters in the forms of your Paladin companions as well as your Ogren Servitor, and that's the reason why we took the Warp Whisper skill for this group, so that way you get that +1 to your crew sizes, so hopefully you can put the entire crew on the tabletop. Now, for those of you guys who are going to be playing in campaigns that take place in the Ash Waste or in Hive Secundus, you do get 400 credits for weapons as well as for vehicle crews and mounted fighters. So for this group, so they were going to do this little Ash Waste vehicle, we got 2 of them. The first one's called the Bloody Hound. It's going to be operated by a Guild of Coin Hauler for 275 credits. This character is driving a custom walker vehicle with extra armor as well as a ram, just to make it a little bit more deadly and a little bit more survivable. And we're giving this vehicle a mining laser, so that way you can snipe at your enemy targets with high toughness or high value targets as well. And then we have the March Hare, which is driven by a Hive Scum Racer at 125 credits, and they're driving a Ridge Runner with tire claws. My suggestion to you as your campaigns develop, for those of you who are using vehicles, get better weapons and equipment for the March Hare. The reason why I took the March Hare is that way you have a few fighters who can also be mounted and be transported across the battlefield, and also maybe a heavy weapon like a missile launcher or a mortar for that example, so that way you can engage your enemy targets en masse. So let's talk about the alliance recommendation I would make for this group. And because you're a Noble House Outcast gang, you can make an alliance with any of the Noble Houses except for the Imperial House, because as an Outcast you can't go back to your original house. In my opinion, I think House Tai with its Amioto Coven would actually be the best alliance to take for you, for those of you guys who are able to take alliances, for a couple reasons. First of all, we got psychic training. You can have one of your fighters gain additional power, for example, which would be quite nice. So for example, if you're playing the Aranthian Succession, we have the Warp Whispers on the Master of Hounds, which is your divination psyker, but we could also use this psychic training in order to give them an additional power like visions, for example. So that could be a nice thing. We also got double disturbing visions as a payoff, however, so you do have to take a willpower test for some randomly generated fighter. If they pass that, if they fail that willpower test, they go out of action, so that is something you got to worry about, as well as the cost of flies drawback as well. But as a bonus, you do get the Amioto Coven, and it comes with 2 fighters. We have Obashi Bellis, which is a House Tai Amioto Telepath. She's got a shock stave as well as a refractor field. She's got the Overseer skill, mind control, unbreakable will, psychic abilities. She's also got inspirational leader, control caller, as well as sanctions, psychic special rules. So that's the reason why we're taking this group, because that way you could actually use that the unbreakable will power in order to actually transfer the willpower characteristic as well as the cool characteristics to your other fighters. Outcast gangs are notoriously known for having bad psychology stats, so this would be kind of a way to kind of balance the scale, and you want this character in order to do so. So that way you have two fighters with unbreakable will that you can actually transfer that ability to your fighters. At the same time, she's also got a Section Psychic special rule, so that way she can reroll one willpower test per game, so that way in case she makes a failing on one, she can do that. And plus we have that control collar mechanism, where as long as hers is off, she can use her psychic abilities. But the moment it comes on, however, it stops. And that's balanced by Subashi Quietus, which is another House Tie Amiono Null. This character's got mesh armor for 5 armor save, as well as a bolt gun and power sword for very powerful shooting and close combat attacks. They also got a respirator to make it a little more survivable. They got the True Grit skill as well as a control collar, but more importantly, they got the Psychic Null ability, which means they can shut down enemy psychic abilities. So if you're facing against another game that's got a lot of psychers in it, you turn off this character's control collar, which will then turn on Waibashi Bellis's powers, and therefore they can suppress those psychic abilities with that Psychic Null. And of course, if you want to be able to use Waibashi Bellis's psychic powers, you just switch it the other way, so that way she can use her abilities. So you're mainly using the House Tai Amiono Null most of the time as a bodyguard for your telepath. The only time you actually kind of switch it the other way, though, is if you're fighting an enemy that's got psychic abilities as well. And for those of you guys who are planning on going to the Underhive, let's talk about your Abyssal Ferryman team. You can use any kind of Ferryman team that you want to, but my suggestion to you is to use this particular team just because you are lacking a lot of special weapons in your gang. So because I like to call this the Special Weapons Abyssal Ferryman team. So it's led by a guy named Tehart's Solid Rain Tycho. He's a Ferryman skipper. We're giving this character the 4 movement allowance, 4+ weapon skill, 3+ blessed skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, as well as 5 intelligence. This character's got mesh armor as well as a plasma gun, which is a great all-around special weapon. It's also got a stub gun, photo goggles, seal on visibility conditions, and the fast shot skills that you can fire this weapon twice. My suggestion to you, actually, when it comes to the Enclave, it just kind of depends on the way you want to play. Survivor Enclave is great because it's like having a second Rogue Dog. Hunters are quite good because you get to reroll 1s to wound against Abyssal Horrors. Having Tinker's Enclave is also a great way to generate credits for yourself, and sitting in the Explorers faction or to get those exploration points. So whatever system you like the best, pick whatever Enclave you want to, but when it comes to the equipment though, I suggest you go with this one. Continuing on with the rest of your Abyssal Ferryman team, we have Kantez Crazy Shot Stone, which is a Ferryman rig hand. This character's got a 5-inch wound allowance, 4+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, 3 strength, 4 toughness, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 8 cool, 8 willpower, and 7 intelligence. This character automatically comes with flak armor, and we're giving this character a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades because having grenade launchers are just great in this game, so having that versatility of weapon loadouts to use for this will really help you out. We're giving this fighter photo goggles so that way they can see in all visibility conditions, and we're giving the Overwatch skill so that way they can interrupt enemy activations with a grenade launcher, which is all kinds of fun. And then lastly, we have our vehicle, which is called the Wild Beast. It is a Ferryman steersman who's driving a custom rig that's got a mining laser, long last, as well as an easy turnover engine, and you can pick whatever skill you want for your driver to kind of match your unique play style. So in conclusion, I want to give a special shout out to Dunami5 for the idea of actually creating a gang surrounding Ortruum 8-8. I thought it was a really cool idea, and it kind of got my creativity going when I created this Hound Outcast gang. I just saw this team of mercenaries and lowdown scum that House Helmore calls upon to eliminate targets, and they use Ortruum 8-8 in order to find those targets, and these guys just kind of go pell-mell and destroy whatever target they're going at. This is actually a pretty hard-hitting, psychically charged list, which is a Manhunter's dream team, so that way they can go after your opponents. You get bonuses to hit against your enemies. You got powerful shooting attacks. You got all kinds of tools in your arsenal that you use against your enemy, and narrowly speaking, it's also kind of cool as well. Now, I don't really get a chance to play test my build, so if you do end up using the Hounds Outcast game, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear exactly how this gang roster worked out for you. And of course, once again, if you guys have any recommendations for a list that you'd like to see, please drop a comment in the comments down below, and if I like it, I'll make a video and I will dedicate to you for giving me the idea. So there you guys have it. That's good for this one. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. I am Commander Cheapskate. That's good for this video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.